If you tuned in to Traditional Knives Anthology episode 9.1 because your appetite for Whittlers was barely whetted in episode 9.0, this is your video. Stay tuned, my friends. Hi gang, Rob here. It is the evening of 9 November 2014. And yes, you have found the next episode in Rob and Steve's Traditional Knives Anthology. We're going to call this one episode 9.1. Following episode 9.0 on the Northwoods Whittler, we are going to dive deeply into the world of Whittlers with two premium examples from, yeah, you guessed it, Great Eastern Cutlery. And we're going to get right into it because Steve has a lot to say. I know that shocks you. But while you're gazing lovingly at these two fine pieces of cutlery from GEC, I'm going to read you a bedtime story. But don't go to sleep till it's over. So, here we go. From Steve of HowAboutTheTruth. This is his text. Most of us associate knives with cutting things apart, from wood to breaking down boxes, opening packages and mail, cutting items to length, processing animals and fruits and vegetables for food, even enjoying a steak dinner. But how often do most of us associate knives with actually creating something? Enter the topic of whittling. Even then, many of us who don't know any better picture an old fella sitting in his chair on the front porch mindlessly cutting up a piece of wood down to a useless nub while making a mess around his feet with the wood shavings. But the true definition of whittling is the art of wood carving, but with a very old and unique technique. The only difference between whittling and wood carving is the choice of cutting tools. The more popular, easier, and contemporary method would be to use power tools and or a set of specific wood carving tools, with each individual tool having a different shape and sized cutting blade. But whittling is the use of a medium to small sized pocket knife with multiple blades. More on this a little later. The number 620311 Easy Pocket Courthouse Whittler by GEC in both the Northfield and Tidioute trim have got to be among the finest split-back whittlers ever made. And if you want to know what a split-back whittler is, check out episode 9.0. Pay special attention to Steve's handmade diagram. So we have here a Tidioute in oh so handsome ebony and the Northfield, and we'll play a little game. I will mention the name of the wood a little later on. See if you can guess what kind of very unique wood this particular knife is sporting. I love this pattern so much that I wanted everyone to enjoy the beauty and quality of both models. Talk about precision made. These knives are true gems. No blade rub on either one. I have medium to thin fingers, and I always keep my finger and thumbnails cut short, yet I can still easily open the secondary blades without causing blade rub. Note the dual thumb recesses in the handles, and I'm going to show you this on this ebony knife because I think the contrast is better. Let me back up the camera so I get good focus. Okay, you see right here there is a divot in the cover and in the frame just to reveal the nail nick, and correspondingly on the other side of the knife. So, and I have longer fingernails, but it lets me get in there without putting any sideways pressure on that blade and opening it without causing any blade rub against the main blade. That's what Steve's talking about. And in we come again. Perhaps larger fingers may not, but opening the main blade all the way first gives us the excuse to play with the knife even more. And what Steve is talking about is our standard method of opening secondary blades on a Whittler, which looks like this. Main blade open and out of the way, and then secondary blades are opened without the fear of any blade rub. I digress. Don't like to cut into Steve's research too much. So, hard to believe. These knives are a full 3 3/16 of an inch long. That's just over 3 3/4 closed. I have no idea what that means. Sorry guys, but I have no idea what that means. Steve, give us a comment. Let me read that again. Hard to believe these knives are a full 3 3/16 of an inch long. That's just over 3 3/4 closed. Okay. That blade is not 3 3/16 inches long. I don't think. Well, maybe it is. Oh, let's just look. Sorry, this is going to make the video long, but I gotta know. I got to know. Let's see. No. It's 2.5 inches. Guys, Steve, you're going to need to help us with that. Okay. I know he knows what he meant. Okay. The knife just melts in your hand. Check out the near sunken joints. And what we're talking about, guys, where the blade tang meets the handle. Most traditional knives, that tang protrudes significantly. On this knife, hardly at all. So watch what happens. Main blade deployed. I really almost can't tell those other two blades are there. Pretty cool. I'm fingerprinting them. Okay. Alright, and we move on. These near sunken joints, along with the smooth rounded bolsters and overall thinness of the knife, is what gives this pattern its name. The easy pocket. They don't snag. Look at the attention to detail on the secondary blades. It is awesome, and I will, when I get done reading, I will show you around these knives closer up and explain what we're talking about. But oddly enough, they begin the first 3 digits on the back blade with 620. Any traces of a brown stain on these tangs is dry oil, Steve wants us to know, not rust. That'll never happen in his collection. It cleans off with any good polishing compound or liquid. The unique wood used on the Northfield, and we better look at it closely before I reveal it and see if you guys can guess. What is that unique wood with that oddly open grain? Can you see that reflecting? What is it? Ooh, look at that. Isn't that cool? What is it? It is coconut palm wood. Not from the nut itself, but from the tree trunk. Coconut palm is the hardest and densest of all the palm trees. The grain is stringy, but that's what gives this knife its unique beauty. I dropped this knife, and it struck the sharp edge of the table, giving it a tiny nick alongside the rear liner. Getting back to whittling. These knives are perfect for fine detail work. Whittling is enjoying a major comeback in the USA. Many states have a woodcarvers guild, which are operated much like a bladesmith's guild. You must prove your talent to a panel of masters. Within every chapter for wood carving, they have a special category for whittlers because wood carving with only pocket knives is much more difficult and requires far more experience. Various shapes and cuts are easier to achieve with power tools and wood carving sets. Not only that, but critics and judges of wood carving state that whittling tends to produce a more unique piece that stands out from another group that use wood carving toolkits. The identity of the individual's methods can be more appreciated and recognized by the whittler. 10 different people can make a cut into wood with the same specialized tool with its own blade shape, and all 10 cuts will look the same. But have the same 10 people use the same knife, and that cut will be a little different among each artist. Cool. At least a couple different American cutlery companies, back in the golden age of pocket cutlery, which I might argue is just coming. Well, we're talking about mid-20th century. But several of these companies would sponsor annual whittling competitions with some valuable prizes and awards to be handed to the best of the best in the fine age, old art of whittling. If you Google up wood carving and whittling, you'll be amazed at the phenomenal pieces you will find in with near endless categories, from superfine hand-tuned fishing lures to extravagant walking sticks, staffs, chip-carved 3D images, puzzles, figurines, and the list is endless. Congress knives, medium and small-sized stockmans and whittlers are the best, but not the only multi-bladed knives with smaller blades that really shine when it comes to creating an endless list of possibilities. I love large and medium-sized trappers and sporting knives as much as the next guy. They are necessary tools in our daily lives, but for me personally, it's the medium and small whittlers and stockmans and Congress knives that really make me smile. They are very special and much harder to produce. Ask any knife maker. GEC made 50 of these Tidioute knives in ebony with 25 serialized. I also have another Tidioute in Frontier Bone, 48 of those made. Only 42 coconut palm Northfields were made, with 25 being serialized. Can you imagine? Only 4 blessed souls own one of 4 made in genuine abalone. Sadly, I bought the last 3 of these whittlers available anywhere, these being 2 of them. Well, that is all we have from Steve. Now, let's take some looks at these knives. I'm going to back the camera up, move the knives because I don't want anything impairing our focus. First of all, here is the tube for the Tidioute knife. Of course, hammer tested and frozen forged out of 1095 carbon steel. And here's the tube for the Northfield knife. Now let's look at the Tidioute close up and personal. As with most things Tidioute, bolsters are not lined, just a plain bar shield. Fit and finish down the back is absolute perfection. Let's take a look at that split back wedge spacer. See how it terminates, leaving a slight gap. That's completely normal. But other than that gap, there is nothing. Let's look at this blade centering. And guys, if you watched episode 9.0, you heard me talk about how that Northwoods Whittler was so rare because the point, the tip of the main blade extended between the full widths of the tangs of the secondary blades. And most of them, like this one, terminate where there's a little more room. But look at that perfect centering. Let's take a look at this Wharncliffe blade, and I noticed this before the video. Notice that very broad spine, because you've got two back springs running that with a lot of room for thick stock. So it's a very stout Wharncliffe, although it comes to a very fine edge. And what I noticed before this video was this unused, unsharpened knife came much sharper than I'm used to seeing from GEC. In fact, all 6 of these blades are very sharp. I'm going to leave this open so we can take a look at the pen blade. And again, guys, if you watched episode 9.0, you're noticing something right away. Notice the precision of the grinds on these satin finished blades from GEC. That is a flat grind on a tiny little knife blade. Look at the ricasso. See how the flat grind extends well into the sharpening notch, which will make resharpening super easy, just so precise. You're going to see a little bit of an asymmetrical swedge. This is the outside of the blade that is next to the liner, and then here's the inside. They give you just a little more room, relief with the swedge to clear that main blade. And you're really going to notice it on the coping blade. Here's the outside of the blade next to the liner with the nick, and then look at the large swedge on the inside to give that main blade some room. Notice half stops on the secondary blades, and back spring just a little proud, and the same with the pen blade. No half stop on the main blade. Pull on the main blade is about a 5, even though 2 big old back springs running that thing. Nice, smooth, easy pull. And the pull on the secondaries, let's see. Oh, just maybe a 4. Remember, the length of your lever is shorter on those secondary blades. So even though the spring is lighter, it doesn't feel half as strong as the main blade. Let's look at the precision of the grinds on this main blade. Guys, they just know how to do it. And if I sharpened this Wharncliffe, you would see how straight and consistent that edge really, or that the main blade grind really is. Let's look for our normal GEC downfall. Transition between bolsters and covers. Guess what? 7 out of 8 are perfect. Actually, all 8 are perfect. I thought I felt something, but I didn't. Just beautiful. Interesting, isn't it? that curve and symmetry makes you think, oh, this is going to be a normal garden variety Congress knife, doesn't it? Nope, it's a Whittler. Very nicely nestled in this sort of Congress chassis. Beautiful. Now let's take a look at the Coconut Palm Northfield. What are we going to notice that's different? Well, we've got triple lined bolsters, pinched bolsters, and it's serialized. Was this Tidioute serialized? No. Same flawless fit and finish down the back side. Everything's flush, there are no gaps. However, corners, oh, guys, they just nailed these. Again, we have a Northfield series knife with satin finish. I'm kind of over, in my own personal collecting taste, I'm kind of over the mirror polished blades. Same action on this one. Just like butter. There's a good shot of that inside swedge. Just beautiful walk and talk. Beautiful. And take a look at that coconut palm wood. And beautiful cloud shield. I love that shield. It's kind of neat. I had not taken these knives out of the tubes when I did the Northfield Whittler video. I didn't really want to prejudice that video by looking at these Great Eastern Cutlery knives. But I gotta tell you, as nice as that Northwoods is, manufactured by Queen, and as much as I like its ambition with its super long main blade extending, you know, clear into here, as much as I like it, and as much as I appreciate that Queen craftsmanship for what it is, guys, there's only one GEC. You know, there just is. You can buy an absolute work of art and a piece of craftsmanship that is a masterpiece for $100, whatever flavor you like. And these Whittlers here are something special. They really need to do another run of these, don't they? They're going to be out there on the secondary markets just bringing blood. Guys, wait. Be patient. They will make more, I promise. Well, I don't know if they will or not, but hopefully if there's enough response generated by this video and others like it, they'll make another run of these 62 Whittlers and we can all have them at normal prices. Let's not kill each other on eBay. So thank you all for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this one. And thank you once again, Steve, How About the Truth, for your research, your personality, and your passion for traditional knives, especially Whittlers. That's what's cool about this traditional knife renaissance we're having and the community that surrounds it and drives it. You know, Steve is a Whittler Congress knife and Stockman guy. And you know me, I'm not. My favorite traditionals are single-bladed. Maybe a two-bladed jack. I don't like hinges on opposite ends of knives too well. But that variety is the spice of traditional knives, isn't it? It just makes it cool. Thank you again for watching. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word is sharp.